I did want to hear, like, I was going into different chats, people that were supporting him, people that weren't, because like I felt like I needed more. Like, I'm the type of person that needs to like continuously gather information before I could be 100%. But like the whole time I always said, like, I know he did this, but when the story came out, I was like, well, I'm curious to know if there's any truth to it. And then you do have that moment where you're like, but like, I never actually had that moment where I was like, could he have not done it? Like, I feel like I always felt he did it, but I just wanted to know more. I wanted to know why other people thought that he didn't do it, you know? Like, I was very curious. So I was in all the chats, everybody that was talking about it. I was in Courtney's chats. I was in that girl Emmett. Like, I was everywhere because I just wanted to get more. I kept looking and looking. Christy, did you hear about Aaron's jail calls? I was definitely in the exact same. I'll message you about our live this week. I gotta get some sleep. Long day today. Yeah, get some rest, Sarah. We'll chat. We'll catch up soon. Did you hear Aaron? So I did hear a couple of KK Court. They popped up on my YouTube, and I was listening to some of his calls, but like I want to listen to some more of them. But I did hear him like talking to like Shay. I heard that one call where he was talking to the cousin. What other one did I hear? I think I heard like 3 calls, but I want to hear more. Aaron was jealous. Sav Girl did a short clip tonight that Wade stapled his shirt to himself. Yeah, so I had heard that. Night, Sarah. I had a small piece of sympathy for Wade on the mentally ill spectrum, but then everything turned. Yeah, so I think a lot of people did in the beginning, you know, because you see this good looking guy and you're like, what could have happened to him? He had to have been abused. All these things may have happened, you know, like you want to know more. I think people want to know more when the person's good looking or they're average looking or, it's human nature. It's curiosity. It's like, why did somebody listen, everybody has a future, right? But then you look at somebody like him and you're like, well, he could have maybe modeled. I mean, not with those face tattoos, but like he could have been anything. And what went wrong that made him do this horrible, heinous stuff, you know? It's just human nature. It's curiosity. Right, like what went wrong? Sad but true. When someone is good looking, you're more curious about them. Yeah. I mean, I just think about like if I see a pretty girl, right, walking down the street, or like I meet a pretty girl, like it's pretty privilege. It's like you're interested. Like, you know, if I see a pretty girl, things with people, you know, even people he's with, like people gave him second chances, you know, because he had to, even when Eric spoke about him, look how many times Eric helped him and he barely even knew him. He bailed him out twice. Then even after he bailed him out and he tried to get rid of him, he helped him again. He fed him and he helped him like 4 times before he finally threw him out. So it's like something about these people draws you in. And that's the part that's kind of interesting. Like what is it about these people? And that's what makes them dangerous. I think the question for me is how, why, what caused them to do that. Tracy, that's definitely a question for me. I've done so much research because I have mental illness. I suffer from panic disorder. And so I'm constantly like looking it up. Like I'm looking up sociopath because like I don't even know that sociopath is mental illness. I think it's like a separate thing. It's a personality disorder, which not necessarily categorized as mental illness. And then is there a combination of mental illness and then, you know, was he born a sociopath? Did he turn into a sociopath? What kind of contribution did the rugs have? You know, there's like so many questions, because we want answers, but there may never be answers. We may never get the answers as to why he did what he did. It's sad because two people lost their lives. And we don't know why, for no reason. Really, I mean, no reason. It's horrible when these acts happen, and not that anybody should get unalived, but it's even worse when it's like, someone's just walking to work and it happens to them. It's terrible, and it's like, what the hell makes you tick like that? It's wild. He's all nice and then he'll switch. I know, I said that to my sister. I'm like, when you listen to him talk on the phone, and he's talking to the guard, and he's like, "Oh, I'm not finished. Okay, thank you." And even when he's in court and he nods with the officer and he says thank you, and it's I'm like, he's the politest schmurder I've ever. It's so weird, It's hard to process. Because it's he's polite and yet he's a horrible person. And then he's calling someone a bitch, and then he's calling Vivian a bitch. That's the thing. He's got a personality disorder, because he's calling her a bitch and gaslighting her and telling her he doesn't want to don't make me turn into something. And then he's on the call with Erica and she's crying and he's consoling her. "Oh, do you want to talk about it? Well, don't be sad, because we're going to be able to." How do you be that many people? How do you, I don't know. I mean, I guess he's the same person, but he knows how to change. I don't know. It's fascinating, though. I find it very fascinating. I do. And I think that's what Bunny meant, maybe, when she meant she was fascinated. There is a fascination with how this happens to somebody. It's not that, we want to give these people light, but we want to kind of understand how this happens. How does this happen? He was lining them up thinking that he was just going to get life. Oh, yeah, for sure. He told Viv he'd F her up. That's just scary. He ran to people telling on himself he's two different people. At times, Wade was horrified when KK was being so loud. Yeah, at times, I have to tell you, I was cracking up. At times when he was these people, he was actually laughing at the people. There was a moment when he was these people are crazy. He even thought his followers were crazy of how obsessed they were over him. He even thought they were nuts. And then I say to myself, how does a person who does such a crazy thing twice can also put together in their head that the behavior that his fans behavior is odd? Do you know what I'm saying? He's able to figure that out. So he clearly knows what's going on, because he can figure that out, but yet he's so crazy enough to do something to two people. I don't know. It's mind-blowing. It's not an excuse for what he did, because a lot of people suffer the same fate and don't. Yes, absolutely, 100%. It's not. It's an explanation, but it's not a justification. He flips a switch. Do you remember when Kristen was talking about her sister? He was horrified. Gosh, I don't remember now. I feel like Kristen's so long ago. And it doesn't hurt that he's a huge man. Yeah, exactly. He said the supporters were vile. His words. Did he actually say vile? Wow. I don't remember that. I just remember he was this is crazy. He was laughing at it. He thought it was insane. So much that he was laughing at it. He doesn't do good around other men, and he was probably taken advantage of terribly in a bad. Yeah, so we were talking about that maybe something may have happened to him. Eric had alluded to maybe something happening to him when he was in a juvenile detention or prison or something. Oh, thank you, Melissa. Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to be honest. I mean, I know not everybody's going to like what I have to say, and I don't mean to get on this platform and not show respect to the victims, because of course the victims are my priority. But this is a true crime page, and obviously the reason why we're into true crime is because we do have that curiosity of what makes people tick, what happens, what goes wrong in people's minds and brains. I truly believe he suffered for something in a detention center. Yeah, it's possible. At times, Wade was horrified. He knows how to act around certain people. He switches. Could be him masking it. I noticed that. I thought he had really good manners at times. Yeah, like I was just so blown away. And then like how he's so giddy and laughing so much. And it's like, this is the happiest inmate I've ever heard. He's very demonized. He's a chameleon. He's definitely a chameleon. He mirrors the personality, which is also a sociopathic characteristic. He mirrors behavior. So he can give the impression that he has empathy and that, you know, he feels or this or that, but I don't think he's actually capable of it. But he's able to mirror it because he picks it up from other people, which is really kind of scary if you think about it. Why was he such a loser? I mean, listen, he didn't have to be a loser. He just chose to be a loser. You know, Eric gave him a job and he bailed him out twice, he said. And then he was like, okay, well, you have to earn it. You have to work now for 30 days. And like, he couldn't even do 10 days. Like, he just can't hold a job. And this is, again, another characteristic of a sociopath. Oh, Cooper, you have panic disorder also? Sorry, because I know what it's like. I feel Eric is very shady. I don't believe half of the things that he said. You know, listen, you take it with a grain of salt. Mama Hood helped him. Yes, she did. She's a beautiful person. She really is. I think the question for me is how they talked his trial of stapling his shirt when he was a teen. I did hear them talk about him stapling his shirt. I just feel like he's had it rough in his mind. Listen, there are people that have had it worse and didn't commit those crimes, and that's the difference. There are people that have been through worse and didn't commit crimes. Right, like people saying not having his bio mom. Listen, do I think maybe it contributed a little bit? Maybe he felt a little bit of abandonment, but his adoptive mom loved the shit out of him. So he got love. If Viv was first in kiosk, no one would have stayed. KK was funny in a weird way. Right. She brought a type of comedy to the phone calls that now we were all sick of her, and now we're all like, can we get her back, please? Because compared to some of these other ones, anxiety. So I see a lot of you guys are like, you know, sharing that some of you guys also have like some sort of anxiety or mental disorder and stuff like that. And I did say, I did talk about this like a couple of days ago that I want to do a live with we're focused on mental health and wanted to like give people an opportunity to discuss their mental health or to discuss maybe trauma that may have contributed to their mental health or whatever. I did want to open the platform and have a live one day to discuss that. If anybody's interested, you could send me a message. If you wanted to share your story, you could come in the box, you could talk. If not, you could just listen and chat. But I did want to like put that out there because it is something that I do like to advocate for because it is something that affects me. It affects my family. I have it in my family. I have several people who suffer from mental illness. So I just want to throw that out there. That's fine, Jessica. Nobody's obligated to come in. Yeah, Papa Steve was also adopted. LA woman, I have panic disorder and I was diagnosed with Graves' disease in August. So you could maybe teach me about Graves' disease. Maybe he committed those crimes and then told on himself and admitted to what he did for attention. It's possible he's a narcissist. So, I mean, he seemed to like the attention. You know, he wanted to know if he was on the news as soon as he basically saw Steve. He was asking the guards if he was on the news. I mean, he liked the attention. I'm convinced something terrible happened to him in his childhood in jail a long time ago. A couple of people have said that. Eric thinks that that's what happened to him. There's no excuse. If you're having mental illness, you can go. No, Angel would definitely, I just want to be clear. We're not saying that that's an excuse at all. Because I have mental illness. I'm not going to go murder 2 people. But he could have a combination of a lot of things. Mental illness, the rugs, personality disorder, all piled together, turns into a sociopath. You know, I'm just saying. I don't know. I'm not a psychiatrist. But there was one that did talk about him and I did repost it. So if you want to go to my reposts, there was someone professional that did speak about him and what she thought he had. I don't think he'll ever be real with Jessie because she controls the money. And, you know, I think he needs somebody that's going to be able to help him. You can tell he has a low IQ by the mere fact he confessed and then didn't take a plea. So I do think he has a low IQ and I don't think he's the smartest, but I don't think that him confessing and not taking a plea has anything to do with him smarts. I think it has more to do with his narcissism and the fact that he wanted to play a game. He wanted to get attention. He wanted to play a game and get money and tell this elaborate story. He's a storyteller, you know, which people that are sociopaths do that. So thank you so much, Kelly. Good night. Have a good night. And so, yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with him being smart. I just think that this is part of his whatever the F is wrong with him, whatever this disease is that he has or whatever's wrong with him. He likes to play this game. Even Mila said he was perfect at first, very polite and did everything right. Kelly said the same thing. Kelly was like, you know, in the beginning, my family loved him, You know, Mila said he would never let her pick up anything in the store. He did everything, you know, and he even said it on the call to her. I have 2 sides. I could be good and I could be evil. I mean, from his own mouth. You're going to go watch Mama Jones' new video. Tippity tap on the screen, show love. Understanding behavior, mental illness can help preventing future situations like that. Yeah. That's why I do think it's important to talk about mental health. I don't know, you know, they did try to get him help. I don't know that there's that much help for a sociopath. And I don't know if, you know, there's this theory that psychopaths are born and sociopaths are made. And so if he was born that way, could they really have ever gotten him the proper treatment? They don't seem to know what he has. They just diagnose him on an assumption that, oh, he has bipolar, or oh, he has this or he has that, but we really don't know if that's the proper diagnosis. They give him medication. We don't know if he's being properly treated. So, you know, and that it could be because they don't know how to diagnose it, because it's very hard to diagnose personality disorder, and you can't treat personality disorder. That's why I say, go to my page, go to my repost, and listen to what the psychiatrist has to say. It's not treatable, okay? So the only thing that she said is that with age, sometimes they lose it. They kind of lose it. But there's no cure for it. So there's no medication. Like, you could be bipolar and you could take lithium, you could take medications, but you know, with sociopath, there's no treatment for it. If you ever look at it, like, they can give you medications, they can do therapy, but if you look it up, there's really no treatment for it. I've talked to some who could be charming but cruel within seconds, especially if told no. That's scary. You're very fair and open, unlike many others. Thank you, Jessica. Isn't there more calls with Kristen? Yes, there's more calls coming with Kristen, and I don't think they're going to be good because I think she definitely incriminates herself on those calls. Want to be respectful, but does Kristen's daughter look like a man? Kristen's daughter is, I guess, what you would call a butch. Or what I used to call butch. She's just like, she's more of the masculine type. I would assume, that's why she looks that way. I was shocked to hear his IQ was only 92 because crafty as hell. Yeah, he is. And he's not like, okay, let's put it this way. He's not like slow, right? Or, below. I think he's just average. Truthfully, I think he's just average. So yeah, maybe his IQ is not so high, but he's not stupid. He's not like below average. I think he's just probably average. Which is why they say he can't be a psychopath, because they say psychopaths are very smart, but they're not all smart, because I've done the research on that too, and they're not all smart. But I'm leaning towards sociopath with him. Right, he didn't have much to his name, so he learned how to scam. He's clever. My ex-husband is a narcissist and was verbally and emotionally abusive. A lot of times I think it's more than, when they're narcissists, they usually have something else too. My ex is a narcissist, and with age, he got more evil and hateful. That's scary. That's scary. Especially if someone goes so long without being diagnosed. I think a lot has to do with the rugs too. Because they do damage your brain over time, I mean, it's like, remember when we were kids, like, this is your brain on drugs. I mean, come on, there's some truth to it, Antisocial with NPD is what a sociopath is. Yeah, I mean, if you look, but then there's also different kinds of personality disorders and different kinds of antisocial. Like, people hear antisocial and they think it means like they're not, like they're antisocial, like they don't socialize with. That's not actually what it is. When I looked it up, I was surprised. So if anybody wants to do some research on that, I'll post some information if I get a chance, but it's really, really interesting, the way the mind works. Case. So I don't know how he going to help him by not cooperating, but he definitely didn't cooperate with the doctors there. And again, I think that's why it's a personality disorder, because they're aware of what they're doing. They know what they're doing. So that's why I say personality disorder. He didn't have much to his name. Blah, blah. I continue to wonder what could have happened if he didn't do rugs that night. He may not have unalived, but I do think that he would have unalived at another time if he didn't do it that night. I just think that he was going to eventually unalive. He's clever. Oops. I mean, if you have that in you, you have that in you. Because, you can be, intoxicated or high, and there are many people that have been very high and intoxicated and have not committed that. I think it just gave him the courage to do it, truthfully. I think he wanted to do it. I think he was thinking about it. I think, and the reason why I think that is because if you look at his prior history, you'll see he's come close to that a few times by doing this to Mila, to Kelly, to that girl that he SA'd in 2015. And if you look, he had a pattern. He did the same thing to each girl. He did this to them till they passed out. He tied them up. He gave them choices. I also posted something like that on my page, the comparison between him, between all his different things that he did and got in trouble for, and how there was, the same pattern. He has a pattern. Like a serial unaliver, except he was a spree unaliver because he only did it twice. But had he gotten to Mila, thank God he did not, he would have been considered a serial unaliver. Whatever it is sounds very complex, right? And sometimes it's just a recipe for his disaster. Like sometimes a person has something, you know, they have mental illness and they get treated and it's fine, or they have a rug problem, they get treated and it's fine. But you know, it sounds like he just, unfortunately, he's like this ticking time bomb, right? Like with all these different things going on, he's doing that, he's got mental, you know, like all this mix, and it just became an explosion. I don't know how these girls do it. I have blocked men for less. Maybe he thinks it's cool what he did. I mean, I think it's way beyond that. He's very sick. This is the most attention he's ever received, and he loves it, even in jail. Yep. And he's still manipulating and ruining people's lives behind jail, behind bars. Yeah, Valerie. I know that there was evidence of that. His patron calls to basically reenacts the details of the crime with the German girl. Yes. I just want to be clear, guys, because I'm seeing your comments and I know that you don't think that, but I just want to be clear for people that aren't commenting and are listening, not making excuses for what he did at all. Just want to be clear. He's guilty. He's where he belongs. But I just want to make sure there's no confusion. Not making any excuses, just having an open discussion about what happens to people, how these things happen. We don't know. We have no answers. We're just talking like as if we're friends sitting at a table having coffee. There's no excuse. It's like I said before, and I'll say this, I'll continue to say this line because I think it's perfect. It can be explanations, but it's not justifications. It could all be an explanation. He did this, he did that, he did that. At the end of the day, it doesn't justify anything he did. I don't think anything will justify taking someone's life unless you're taking their life to protect your own. Right, we're just talking about contributing factors. I don't think what he said happened with Christine really did. I know that there was question of what he said. If you guys listen to, you remember when they brought in the guy, Dr. Rubino, for the evaluation, and they had that Zoom call, and they asked Dr. Rubino like if he knew what happened, and he said something along the lines of, "Oh, well, didn't she laugh at him and he got upset?" I did wonder about that. What made him say that? It was a little interesting. What made him say that? Did he hear that from Wade, or did he just think that? That was interesting. So just wondering how that came about. And could that have happened? I mean, again, still doesn't make it right. Yeah, I mean, what he did to his victim in 2015 was awful, Melissa. I don't know if you read that, but she endured 3 hours of abuse. My ex was diagnosed by the military with NPD and antisocial, and they thought he would unalive me. See? Choose, it was just a matter of time. That's right. He also had alcohol in his system, never abusive, just a straight up liar and narc. Antisocial is your ability to disassociate people from reality. Right. It's a disassociation. Coral, what's up? And maybe he unalived before. I wonder that too. I do wonder if he did this before. Steve seemed to think that this was the first time he did this, but I do want, like, there was a part of me that wondered maybe he did this before, but then there was another part of me that was like some of the things he was saying, I was like, I don't think he did, so I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. He did say that to Mila, but he also lied about a lot of things. He almost said why he schmurdered Christine on a call with Mila, but then she spoke over him. I know, that there was a moment there where I was like, oh, he was gonna say something, and he didn't say it. Where can you find that article about 2015? It's not an article. It's on the courthouse records. If you message me, I can send it to you. But she really endured like horrendous abuse for 3 hours. I mean, they all endured terrible abuse. But hers was lengthy. I did notice, Coral. I'm sure you talked to her. But it's probably best for her because lots of drama, It was posted on TikTok. Yeah, I don't know if I have that particular document. I do have a piece of it on mine, but I didn't want to put the whole thing. When I post things, I really try to be mindful of the things that I post, especially when it comes to the victims. I really just try to be mindful of what I post. Like, I want to get the information out there because I do want people to know. But I also try to be mindful that there are victims involved in this situation, and some of them have survived. How did he get out of jail for the girl that he brutalized for 3 hours? There was a trial and he was found not guilty. Tallahassee. But he was found not guilty. Unfortunately, I don't think they had enough evidence. Yeah, I hope she is too. I know she was dealing with the store. She said she needed a new floor. So I'm sure she's really busy with that. So, maybe it's best that she does that, that she takes a break. You see that they're not doing the document. I'm sure you saw that they're not doing it anymore. Kelly had told me today that they're not doing it anymore. It's not on Lee County Clerk of Courts, guys. It's on Leon County because it happened in Tallahassee. So it's Leon County. Yeah. So. Yeah, she's taking a break. It's sad that the jury was focused on whether he had a gun or not and found him not guilty. I think that's what it had to do with. I think there was a confusion with, not a confusion, but I think the girl had said one thing and then they couldn't back that up. And then maybe they felt like she lost her credibility. I don't know. I didn't look into it that much. I just know that he was found, they did have a trial and he was found not guilty. And all of that is available. I don't know. Oops. To see everything he's ever done, you need to check several counties. Yeah, you'd have to go to Leon County, Monroe County, Lee County. Those are the 3 counties. And I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's, who knows if there's ones in other states. I mean, I think there's one general search that you can do, and you can see all the places, all the counties that he was arrested in, and then you can go to those county courthouses. But I'll be honest with you, I wasn't putting that kind of effort in. I did want to obviously see the prior cases, because to me, that matters when you're looking at, what he did. Absolutely. It's one thing his supporters don't do. It drives me. No, they don't. They do not do the research. I mean, I can't tell you how many I've been blocking on my page that come to the page and ask me to translate for them, or, ask me where they can see the trial, and they're posting tons of blue hearts. And I just block, the ignorance is unreal. It's unreal. And if somebody has a disability and they just genuinely don't, I have this one person on my page. I finally blocked her just because I don't trust anyone anymore. But she genuinely, you can see, she has a disability. I feel bad because she probably doesn't understand, but there's a lot of people that do understand. And you know what? If you don't understand the language and you're not in this country, educate yourself. Just don't go with it, but to attack and go after the victims and get on their pages and say these things is just disgusting. It's really disgusting. But now we know, his team was basically that was their job, was to basically, thank you, Coral. Their jobs was to basically go into people's lives. I mean, they're still probably doing that. They go into the lives and they listen to, what we're talking about. And then they take that information back, and they, were going into Courtney's live and listening to what they were saying in Courtney's live, and then reporting back. Sharing comments that they saw on the internet. I mean, this is what they're doing. This is what his team consists of. This is what they're working on, is trying to bring him information so that they can help him. And without all the facts, it's mind blowing. I don't get it. And that's why sometimes I do let them come onto my page and make comments, and I will sometimes interact. If I feel like I could possibly maybe explain something, but then when they just come, you can tell, somebody will have a question and I'll answer it because I feel like maybe they are genuinely still trying to, I don't know who could still trying to be figuring it out, because at this point, how could you have not figured it out? But I always feel like maybe they're genuinely really trying. So I will try to answer. And sometimes the people would be like, oh, I didn't know that, But then when they're just coming with he's innocent, he's beautiful. I'm like, block, because they're just nuts. They're nuts. There's something not right. And I understand that in Germany, a life sentence is 15 years. So a lot of them probably are just against the death penalty because they can't fathom the idea that we actually take someone's life. So I get that, part of it may be that, but I'm sure that's a small percentage, but I find it wild that 15 years is life in Germany, because how is that? You take someone's life and you get 15 years. How is that punishment? So, but I learned that through this case. I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that that's how it is in Germany. That's how it is in a couple of countries. So, it's kind of interesting that how the justice system works in different countries. And, the death penalty is a very controversial thing, because there have been many people who have been exonerated. I think it's 82% of the people, or was that 82% of the people that, now I'm getting my percentages. But bottom line is that there have been many people who have been exonerated that have been on D-row. So a lot of people have an issue with that. A lot of people feel that you shouldn't have a right to take someone else's life. So there's the issue of that Catholics don't, I'm Catholic. We're not supposed to believe in that. My mom's a devout Catholic and she believes in D-row. Figure that out. I don't believe in D-row, but not because of the reasons that people think. I don't believe in D-row for two reasons. I don't believe in it because, one, I feel like let them go to prison, rot, and, get shanked, or whatever the case may be, rot in prison and do your time. I think D-Row is an easy way out. And the second reason is because the cost of keeping someone alive on D-Row is way more expensive. It's like probably 3 times as much if you just put somebody in a prison cell. You could probably put someone in prison for 40 years and it would cost less than it would cost for someone to sit on D-Row for 10 years. So those are the two. I think actually D-Row should be abolished because I don't believe in it at all. I think I don't understand the purpose of it other than wasting taxpayer dollars for the same outcome, because they're either way they're not gonna come out alive. And I just think that, the appeals process is so long and lengthy, and it just puts people through so much. And I think the family just sits there waiting and waiting. And how many family members have died before they even got to see justice be served because this person appealed the cases so many times. So that's why I'm against it. And I'm not against it. I just think it should be gone because I just think it's stupid. I just think it's a complete waste of taxpayer dollars. I don't believe in D-Row, but I would never donate to an individual inmate. I don't know if I would say I would never donate to an inmate, because I don't know, maybe if I really, really, truly believe somebody was innocent, like that guy Marcellus. I didn't follow his case, but according to everyone, they're saying that there was so much evidence that he was innocent. They even said he was innocent, and yet he was still. So I don't know. I feel like maybe that would be something I would do. I don't know. I never say never, right? I don't know. Why is it more expensive? Pay it forward. It's just more expensive to care for a prisoner like that because of the amount of security that it takes to run these type of facilities, because they're in their cells for 23 hours a day. When they come out, they have to be handcuffed. They have to be I would say there's probably several guards that have to be out there when they come out, when they go to shower, if they go to recreation. They're never allowed to be mixed. So I think it has a lot to do with, because it's maximum security. I think it's just very costly to run maximum security type of facility like that. I don't know. I have to look into the actual costs, which I will do. But I just know that from what I've read, it's much more expensive. All appeals they get. Oh, and that's another thing. Yes, Britt, thank you. Thank you for reminding me, because I did know that, but I forgot. That's the other thing, the appeals. All of our tax dollars pay for those appeals. So it's a very expensive process because appealing, they appeal, they go to, let's say it's Florida, right? Okay, in this case it's Florida, so they go to Florida Supreme Court. If Florida Supreme Court says no, they go to Supreme Court. Imagine the costs associated with the appeals process. But I don't know if that's why D-Row is more expensive, just thinking about it, because either way, they do have an appeals process. But a D-Row appeal is, you can only have a certain attorney for a D-Row appeal. They have to be certified to be able to handle D-Row appeals. So I do still think it's definitely more costly to appeal a D-Row sentence than it would be if you were appealing a 30-year sentence. Read your comments. It's CA. It's about $90,000 per year each inmate. I'm gonna get the information and I'll post it, just because I know I have it saved somewhere that I was gonna post it, but then these are all the things I'm gonna post that I never do. I'm a nurse and I deal with these types of inmates. When they have to go to medical, it's a big deal. Everything is. Think about it. If they have to go to medical, somebody like Wade Wilson, who's 6'4" and 250 pounds or whatever, he has to be probably accompanied by 4 prison guards. Plus he's at risk of escaping because he's already did it before. He's already tried to escape before. So that's another thing that you have to take into account, moving them from place to place. They're escorted by 5 people. They are shackled, and they are also videotaped. We have Angola and Louisiana. They have, I'm a nurse and I do, okay, I said that. And because of its appeals, it's automatic appeals. Yes, the automatic appeal for D-Row. They get our PW. Good night, Jenny. DP is not a deterrent. Bad crime's still happening. True. I just don't think, the guy was innocent. Menendez Brothers, I totally support them. I support them too. I would donate to the Innocent Project. Thank you for the gifts, guys. I don't believe in DR, but I would never donate. The state of Florida makes like a half 1 million per DR inmate. It's a racket. Exactly. If we're my mother or family, I'd be all for it, I think. Well, so that's the thing, Amber, is that like, obviously you don't know. If you were in that situation, you would probably feel that way too. I just think that it sucks, that families have to wait so long if that's what they really want, I'm an atheist and I believe it's an easy way out. I definitely feel like it's an easy way out. Execute someone the next day. It's just never going to work that way in the United States of America, because people have a right to due process. They have a right to appeals. It's never going to happen. It's never going to be that fast, ever, ever. I don't ever see it being that fast. So being that that's the case, it's, that's not going to work. Yeah, prisons are big money. Right. Many pass before they see it happen. That's my point. It's just like, if you're not going to do it within a timely fashion, then what's the point of doing it? I was listening to Diane's dad say he'll be there at the unaliving of him. And, I was listening to it and I'm like, he's not a young man, and it's sad because her dad wants to be there and witness that, and he may not get to do that. It's sad. It's sad. It's very sad. No, I know what you're saying. Violent crimes, yeah. No, I know what you're saying. But everyone is still allowed to, thank you, Dawn. Everyone is still allowed the right to due process and the appeals process, even if it's a terrible crime. They're still entitled to that, because what if someone made a mistake? They have to be entitled to that appeal. That's why DP is an automatic appeal, because what if they made a mistake? They can't easily take someone's life like that. So there's never going to be a way around it. It's just not. But anyway, guys, I have to do what? We waste so much money on inmates. They get due process in court. They do, but they are entitled to the appeal process. It's just the way that the judicial system works in this country. Good night, Sarah. Thank you so much for joining, everybody. We have a serial killer in Louisiana, the mother of the victim for years. I know, I think in like Idaho, they brought back the firing squad or somewhere there. Have a great night, everybody. I don't know when I'll be live again. My son has confirmation this weekend, so it's going to be a busy next couple of days, but I wish you all the rest, that you all have a good week, the rest of the week. And, I'll see you guys soon. Have a good night.